sky above Zaratha's prime burned with streaks of fire. The planet's once blue atmosphere was filled with smoke and the screech of war engines. From orbit, the marauding fleet of Vorath raiders appeared like a storm of steel, their ships cutting through the void with deadly precision. Cities trembled under their bombardments, and alien populations ran through streets in panic. On the ground, the inhabitants of Zarathas were struggling to coordinate a defense. The Zarathi Council, composed of the wisest strategists and leaders of the planet, had sent desperate messages across the galaxy. They hoped, against all odds, that anyone would respond. But the galaxy was vast and help was unlikely. Adelra, a young Zarathi officer, stared at the communications console. Her 3 eyes reflected the blinking red warning lights. They haven't replied," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Nobody is coming. We are alone." A roar shook the command center as a nearby city exploded under Vorath fire. Screens lit up with real-time images of destruction, towers crumbling, bridges collapsing, and alien citizens screaming for their lives. Even the most seasoned council members felt a chill in their spines. "The Vorath don't negotiate," said Admiral Krellin, his segmented jaw clicking nervously. "They only take, destroy, and move on. Our fleets, they are too small. We can't match them ship for ship." Adelra's claws tapped nervously on the console. "We've tried everything. We've sent every distress signal, every plea. If no one comes, we're finished." A distant tremor shook the command center. Outside, the sky burned orange and black as more Vorath bombers streaked toward the planetary capital. For the first time, a deep despair settled over the council. All hope seemed lost. And then, without warning, a new presence appeared in the stars above Zarathas. At first it was subtle, a small shimmer in hyperspace barely detectable among the chaos, but it moved fast, faster than any Zarathi or Vorath craft, faster than any of the galaxy's known ships. "Commander, what is that?" Adelra asked, pointing at the display. No one spoke for a moment. The Council's communications expert adjusted the sensors. I don't know, it's massive. Its design, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. It's human." The word felt strange in the room, humans. They were thought to exist only at the edge of galactic memory, a species that survived extreme worlds, adapted to impossible conditions, and yet remained mostly mysterious. Rumors painted humans as reckless, unpredictable, and almost dangerous. But none of the Zarathi had ever seen one. And yet there it was. The massive human warship emerged from hyperspace without fanfare. It did not send a signal, did not hail the council. It simply appeared over the capital city, moving with precision and calm. Its hull gleamed under the dying light of the Vorath bombardments, a shadow of power in the chaos. "Is it attacking?" one council member asked. "No," said Admiral Krellin, narrowing his eyes. "It's observing, but why? We didn't call them." The Vorath, however, noticed immediately. Sensors aboard their ships detected the new arrival, and a wave of confusion swept through their fleet. Their dreadnoughts slowed, unsure how to respond. A single warship alone should be insignificant against hundreds of raiders, but this was no ordinary ship. Adelra held her breath as the human warship made its first move. Without warning, a beam of energy sliced through the nearest Vorath bomber. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash of blue and white light, debris scattering into space. The council gasped. The Vorath fleet blinked, then retaliated. Lasers and missiles swarmed toward the human ship, but every attack seemed almost too slow, too predictable. The human ship maneuvered with grace and precision that no Zarathi pilot had ever seen. Missiles missed. Energy blasts glanced harmlessly off reinforced hull plating. This isn't possible," muttered a counselor. "No one survives like that against them." Adelra swallowed hard. For the first time, hope stirred in her chest. Could this be the answer to their prayers? The human ship continued its assault, dismantling Vorath forces one by one. Smaller fighters darted from hidden hangars, striking the enemy with surgical precision. Every move seemed chaotic to an observer, but utterly controlled to the humans on board. Through it all, the humans did not communicate. They did not boast. They acted. And every time the Vorath tried to predict their next move, the humans did something new, something unexpected. On the ground, citizens stopped running, staring at the sky. Children clutched at their parents' limbs, wide-eyed, as the strange new saviors continued their silent intervention. For the first time in hours, a glimmer of awe replaced the fear. Adelra could not contain herself. They're saving us." Admiral Krellin shook his head, still analyzing the tactical displays. "It's more than saving. They are teaching." Indeed, something about the human style of fighting was different. They used the planet's orbital debris, asteroids, and even abandoned satellites as cover. They created diversions that confused the Vorath, splitting their forces. Every action seemed designed not only to destroy, but to teach the Allies how to survive. A loud explosion nearby drew Adelra's attention to a Vorath cruiser closing in on the planetary surface. Civilians were trapped, no way to evacuate. The human warship accelerated. A beam of energy shot from its prow, disintegrating the cruiser instantly. The ground trembled, but the civilians were unharmed. A chorus of astonished murmurs filled the command center. Humans, they do not care about fear. They act. The Vorath, sensing they were outmatched in ways they could not understand, began retreating in small formations, regrouping for a new attack. But the humans anticipated their moves. Every escape route was blocked. Every ambush countered. By the end of the first day, the Vorath were already losing ground. And yet, the human ship remained calm. It hovered above the planet as if waiting for something or someone. It did not move for glory, for reward, or for fame. It acted because it was human, because humans never waited when others were in danger. Adelra finally found her voice. We need to contact them." Krellin nodded slowly. "Yes, but we must approach carefully. They are different, not just stronger, they are something else. Something almost impossible." The Council activated their communications array, sending the first official message to the humans. "To the ship above Zaratha's prime, we are grateful. Who are you?" There was no immediate response. Instead, the human warship moved slightly, positioning itself between the planet and the remaining Vorath fleet. It was a silent promise. As long as humans were here, Zarathas might survive. As night fell on the planet, the fires of the Vorath bombardments reflected in the calm blue light of the human ship. Civilians emerged from shelters, blinking in disbelief. Soldiers stood straighter. Council members exchanged quiet words of hope. Adelra whispered to herself almost reverently, no help was expected, yet they came. Humans, they came from nowhere. Above the planet in orbit, the human warship seemed to wait, not for recognition, not for thanks, only for the next move, ready to act, ready to defy the odds. And somewhere deep inside every Zarathi watching the skies, a seed of awe and respect took root. Humanity had arrived. And the galaxy would never forget it. The morning sun rose over Zaratha's prime, but the light could not warm the planet as long as the Vorath threat loomed in orbit. The devastation of the previous day still hung in the air. Cities were in ruins, fires burned across plains, and survivors picked through rubble, their eyes haunted by the memories of relentless attacks. Yet hope had returned, fragile but real, because of the human warship that hovered above the capital. Inside the command center, Admiral Krellin and his council watched the humans' movements carefully. Unlike anything the aliens had ever seen, the humans acted with a mixture of calm, precision, and unpredictability. "They don't hesitate," said a young tactician, voice full of awe. "Every attack, every maneuver, it's like they already know the Vorath will do." Krellin nodded, still tense. "Yes, and yet they are not just fighting, they are teaching us. Look, see that diversion. They lured a Voreth squadron into the asteroid field where our patrols ambushed them. Without even telling us, we just followed their lead. Indeed, from the ground, the battle appeared chaotic. The Voreth were aggressive, sending wave after wave of fighters, bombers, and frigates. But the humans anticipated every move. Every attack was countered. Every Voreth strategy met with something the aliens had never imagined. A counselor leaned forward, pointing at a holomap. Their technology is advanced, yes, but their decisions, it's something else. They improvise, adapt, and strike where we least expect it. No Voreth can predict them. Adelra felt a shiver run down her spine. Humans were not just strong, they were different. They did not act like any other species. They did not fear. They did not hesitate. Every move was bold, daring, and effective. The humans' fighters moved like swarms of lightning, weaving through debris and asteroid fields. Their attacks were surgical. A Voreth cruiser attempted to escape, but a pair of human ships intercepted it, disabling engines and forcing it into retreat. The aliens, watching from their control decks, whispered among themselves, "These humans, they are something else." Hours passed. The Voreth tried again and again to break through, but each attempt failed. The humans adapted instantly, changing formations, predicting enemy moves, and exploiting the smallest weaknesses. Even the aliens learned from them. Adelra couldn't contain her curiosity. She activated a long-range communication channel. "To the human warship," she said, voice trembling. We are Zaratha's Prime. We are grateful. Please tell us your name. Why are you helping us?" For a long moment there was silence. Then a voice, calm and steady, came through the speakers. Its tone was simple, almost plain, yet it carried authority. "Zaratha's Prime," the human said. "We are here because it is the right thing to do. Focus on survival. We will handle the rest." Adelra blinked. That was it. No titles, no demands, no political statements, just a simple command and a promise. Meanwhile, the Voreth fleet grew frustrated. Their generals had faced thousands of species, crushed billions of lives, yet they had never faced an opponent like this. One admiral shouted through his comms, his voice trembling with anger. "What manner of creature commands that warship? It predicts our moves before we make them." Even their technology could not explain it. The humans' tactics seemed reckless, yet perfect. They used every advantage of the environment: asteroid fields, orbital debris, even the gravitational pull of Zaratha's itself, to disorient the enemy. It was improvisation that no machine could calculate. The aliens in the command center watched, fascinated. "They fight like nothing we've ever seen," whispered a counselor. "It's almost unpredictable, and yet perfect." The day continued with a series of stunning victories for the humans. One Voreth squadron attempted a surprise attack on the planet's orbital defense station. The human warship responded instantly. Small fighters darted from hidden bays, striking key points on the enemy ships. Energy beams sliced through Voreth hulls, disabling weapons without harming the station. Every movement of the humans seemed designed to teach the aliens something. After witnessing a maneuver, the Zarathi fighters began to copy it. For the first time, they felt capable of standing against the Voreth. The humans were not only defending, they were creating allies out of fear and desperation. Adelra could hardly believe what she was seeing. She turned to Admiral Krellan. They are showing us how to fight, aren't they?" Krellan's segmented jaw clicked. "Yes. But not just how to fight, how to think, how to act. Humans, they are different. They improvise under pressure. They take risks that no other species would, and they survive." As the sun began to set, the Voreth realized they could no longer simply destroy the planet from orbit. Their losses were mounting, their formations breaking down, and morale was slipping. In a final, desperate attempt, a Voreth dreadnought, larger than anything the Zarathi had ever imagined, charged toward the capital city. Its weapons powered up, ready to annihilate everything in its path. The council froze. Even with the humans above, destruction seemed inevitable, but the human warship did not panic. It accelerated toward the dreadnought with impossible speed. Smaller human fighters darted around it, drawing enemy fire. Then, with surgical precision, a beam of pure energy struck the dreadnought at its core. The massive ship shuddered and exploded, fragments scattering across the void. The command center erupted in cheers. The Voreth fleet hesitated, confused and fearful. How could one ship?" muttered a terrified officer. Adelra realized the truth. Humans were not just warriors. They were problem solvers, innovators, and fearless fighters. They did not rely solely on technology. They relied on courage, creativity, and instinct. By nightfall, the remaining Voreth retreated, their fleet fragmented and demoralized. The aliens looked at the humans with a mixture of awe, fear, and gratitude. Something had shifted in the galaxy. Humans were no longer a distant legend. They were a force that could not be ignored. In the quiet aftermath, the council convened. Survivors moved among the rubble, tending to the injured and helping rebuild. Adelra spoke quietly, almost to herself. "They didn't just save us, they taught us. They showed us a way forward." Krellin nodded slowly. "Yes, and tomorrow we may need them again, but for now we have hope. Hope because humans exist. Hope because they act when no one else would." From orbit, the human warship remained above the planet, silent and imposing. Its presence was a statement. Humans did not wait for permission. Humans did not hesitate. Humans acted when it mattered most. Adelra looked up at the stars, thinking of the humans above. She felt something she had never felt before. A profound respect for a species that could defy odds, challenge the impossible, and protect the helpless. Not for reward, not for glory, but because it was the right thing to do. And somewhere in her heart she knew this was only the beginning. The Voreth would return, other threats would come, but now the Zarathi and perhaps the entire galaxy had seen the human way. Bold, resourceful, unpredictable, unstoppable, the humans had arrived. And when they did, the impossible became possible. The morning on Zarath's prime began quietly, but the calm was deceptive. The Voreth fleet had retreated the night before, but they were not defeated. Their commanders whispered of the humans, a single warship that had shattered their dreadnought, a species unlike any they had faced. They were angry, humiliated, and vengeful. From orbit, the humans observed the remnants of the Voreth. They did not panic. They did not show fear. Their ship hovered silently, waiting for the inevitable return. Humans never rushed. Humans never underestimated. Humans never panicked. On the ground, the Zarathi worked tirelessly to repair their defenses. Thanks to the humans' guidance, their fighters now moved with new confidence, using the tactics they had learned from the previous battles. Even the most inexperienced pilots could anticipate enemy maneuvers, thanks to the humans' improvisational teachings. Adelra stood on the observation platform of the command center, watching the horizon. "They're coming back," she said, voice tense. "I can feel it." Admiral Krellin's multi-eyed gaze was steady. "Yes, and when they do, we will be ready. The humans have prepared us. But the final move, that will be theirs." Hours later, the Voreth fleet emerged from hyperspace. This time, it was larger, faster, and more aggressive. Their dreadnoughts led the charge, energy weapons glowing ominously. Civilians below ran for shelters, but the council held firm. They had seen what humans could do. They had learned from humans. The human warship moved forward calmly, cutting through the Voreth formations. Smaller human fighters darted in every direction, unpredictable and lightning fast. The Voreth tried to anticipate, but humans had already adapted. Every maneuver was countered before it could fully form. "Look at them," Adelra shouted. "They are everywhere at once." "How can one ship do this?" Krellin shook his head. "It is not one ship, it is humanity itself. They do not fight like any other species. They adapt. They improvise. They see possibilities where others see only limits." The Voreth dreadnoughts fired volleys of missiles and energy beams. One massive missile streaked toward the planet, aiming for the capital. The human ship did not fire immediately. Instead, it manipulated the missile's trajectory, using a precise energy pulse to deflect it harmlessly into space. Civilians below stared in disbelief. Humans could change the path of destruction itself. On the ground, Zarathi pilots copied the humans' techniques. They coordinated strikes in new ways, using asteroid debris as cover and flanking enemy positions. Where before they had panicked, they now fought with strategy and courage. Humans had not only defended them, they had made them fighters. The Voreth realized their errors too late. Their largest dreadnought aimed directly for the human warship, assuming sheer size and firepower would prevail. The humans did not retreat. They danced around the dreadnought, launching small, fast attacks at weak points, drawing the massive ship into an exposed position. Adelra's heart raced as she watched. They are going to do it. They are going to take down the dreadnought, Krellin nodded. And not just the dreadnought, they are showing the galaxy what humans are capable of. Then, the final move came. The human warship executed a maneuver so bold, so precise, that the Voreth could not comprehend it. It slipped through the enemy lines, appearing directly at the dreadnought's rear. Energy beams struck simultaneously at critical engines and weapon systems. The massive ship shuddered violently, sparks flying across its hull. For a moment time seemed to freeze. Then explosion. The dreadnought shattered, fragments scattering into the void. Voreth morale collapsed instantly. Smaller ships panicked, attempting to flee. The humans were everywhere, intercepting retreats, neutralizing threats without hesitation. On the planet, the Zarathi cheered, tears streaming down their faces. Citizens ran into the streets, staring upward at the humans. "They did it," whispered Adelra. "They really did it." But the humans were not finished. They guided the Zarathi in a final coordinated strike. Alien ships, now confident, followed the humans' lead. Together, they destroyed the remaining Voreth vessels, leaving the enemy fleet fragmented and defeated. The galaxy had witnessed a single species turning despair into victory. After the battle, the human warship hovered silently. Communications were activated. Adelra spoke carefully, gratitude heavy in her voice. "To the humans who saved us, thank you. You have no idea what this means to our people." The human voice came again, calm and steady. "Zaratha's prime, remember this, strength alone is not enough. Courage, ingenuity, and unity, these make a species great. Protect your world, learn, adapt, act when it matters." The words were simple, but the impact was immense. Humans had not only saved the planet, they had left a lesson for the galaxy. As the human warship prepared to leave, a young Zarathi approached the command center's observation deck. "Will they come back?" he asked, eyes wide. Adelra smiled softly. "Humans, they don't wait for calls, they act when it matters. We may see them again, or maybe not. But one thing is certain, the galaxy will never forget them." The humans slipped into hyperspace quietly, leaving no fanfare, no celebration. They did not stay for thanks or glory. They had acted because it was right, and that was all they needed. In the aftermath, the Council worked tirelessly to rebuild. The Zarathi pilots, now trained under human guidance, patrolled their skies with new confidence. Citizens rebuilt their homes, inspired by courage and hope. And above all, the galaxy had seen the signature of humanity, fearless, inventive, and unstoppable when others falter. Adelra looked up at the stars each night, remembering the humans above her. She knew that their arrival had changed everything. "They came from nowhere," she whispered, "and yet they have changed the fate of our world forever." In the deep reaches of the galaxy, word of the humans spread. Aliens spoke in hushed tones about the species that could defy odds, innovate under pressure, and act when all hope was gone. Where fear once ruled, respect now reigned. And somewhere far beyond the edge of the galaxy, humans sailed silently through the stars, ready for the next impossible challenge. because that was what they did. That was who they were. Bold, resourceful, unpredictable, unstoppable. The galaxy would never be the same.